Hello, everyone. We are live. It is another episode of Get Well with Mel, and all about health and wellness for older adults. And you all, we are on location today. I don't know if you all can hear the music, okay, but we are here at the Refuse, Resist, Rebuild Town Hall for to free DC. Just to give you all a little background about this event, right? It is a community partners for energizing evening that brings non-cooperation into focus as a powerful tool for resistance through shared stories and cross-movement strategy. They will explore how communities have historically used tactics like boycotts, disinvestment, and refusal to push back against injustice and how we can harness that power together in this movement. Now, there are a few organizers and leaders of this event. We have the Boycott Target DC. We have the Free DC. We have the DC for Palestine and the Avelo Airlines Baltimore campaign. All the leaders of these organizations are here tonight in DC to bring solutions to the community on how they can resist the occupation of DC. And as you can see tonight here, I do have a few leaders of these organizations who are going to talk about their mission and their part to free DC of the occupation and also fighting for justice for us all out there, okay? So listen, this is going to be very powerful tonight. So I want you all to go ahead, first of all, and stream this and share this out to everyone you know, because let me tell you, this just isn't going to be happening in DC. This will be happening around the U.S., all right. And I think it's important that we all kind of just get ready, get prepared, and just, know our rights. Isn't that right? Because a lot of people think that this is just, confined to DC. And it's not. It is absolutely not. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and share this out to my Facebook audience. And then we're going to get started. And I'm going to introduce you to my fabulous guests. And like I said, throughout the evening, we are going to be talking to some dynamic people. So how they say, tell a friend to tell a friend. All right. Hold on. Let's see. All right. So let me go ahead, first of all, and just introduce my friend to my right. And your name, please?
Reverend Patty Fears, and I'm the senior pastor of the Fellowship Baptist Church here in Washington, D.C. I'm also heading the Boycott Target initiative, and I run the Ward 4 Faith Leaders.
I love that. And Miss Patty Pierce here, she's going to be my co-host for tonight. So you all are going to be seeing a lot of her. Yes, absolutely. And you are?
Kaya Chatterjee. I'm the executive director of Free DC.
Okay, fantastic. So let's stay on you for a second because Miss Patty's going to be with us all night. Tell us, Free DC, I think that kind of says it all, but explain to the people here what you all's mission is, okay? And that's the camera right there.
Yeah, perfect. So, hi, everyone. So we are here to protect home rule for DC. Free DC is actually a movement that's existed for a very, very long time, well before I was born even.
Really?
So, this is a movement that was really started by Marion Barry and Julius Hobson and the people who really worked so hard during the civil rights era to work for liberation for the people of DC. And we know that what we got out of that was actually not equal representation for the people of DC, but what we got out of that was limited home rule for the people of DC. So what that means is that we don't control our deployment of our National Guard in DC. We don't control who charges. Folks can probably hear us screaming Free DC already here. Should I keep going? You think it's okay? I'm going to say it was DC. We're doing a little chant here in the room. So we are one. 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 Do you want me to keep going?
As you all can hear, the program is starting now in the back. They do have an artist here who is performing. what I'm going to do here, I'm just going to go ahead and turn the camera right now just to give you all a live shot of some of the action that is going on right now.
United we stand. Divided we fall. Divided we fall.
Say we are one.
We are one.
Say we are one.
We are one.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome. Say we are one.
It's small, but he's in the corner.
Say we are one.
We are one.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
We shall overcome.
Shall overcome.
That's what I like to hear from my city, y'all. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. How you all feeling out there?
Woo!
Oh no, DJ Lux, bro. They just gave us all that energy, and I asked how they feeling out there, and all I heard was, you gonna try to get DJ Lux, bro? I said, how y'all feeling out there? That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Everyone, if you don't know, my name is Ahmad. I am an MC, lyricist, recording artist, songwriter, born and raised from Washington, D.C. And I just had the honor of being a part of the amazing Freedom Futures Collective, where we bring activism and hip hop together. Can you make some noise for activism and hip hop?
All right, as you all can hear, it is a lot going on here tonight, and I love the action. So back to what you were talking about, Free DC. This is nothing new. Like you said, this has been going on since Mary and Barry, continuing the work, right? And I definitely, would you say this organization was made for a time such as this?
Yeah, I mean, we decided that we were going to launch Free DC because we heard Trump saying on the campaign trail that he was going to take over DC repeatedly, and we realized from studying other movements around the world and how they deal with dictatorships that we needed to get organized and be organized neighborhood by neighborhood and be ready to both protect our community and organize so that at the end of this, because it's going to take so much organization to fight this back, this occupation we're experiencing right now, and so if we're going to organize that much, then at the end of it, we want to get more than just back to where we were. We want to keep on this journey that all of the civil rights activists of the 60s brought forward. We want to keep going on that journey and move forward till we have equal representation in DC.
Well, let's talk about this because, again, I am a DC native, right? And this has been going on a long time, okay? So first things first, you said that you all studied other places around the world when this has happened. What are some of the countries that this has happened in?
Well, when you look at where dictatorships have ruled and then been taken down, you can look at Pinochet, who was a dictator in Chile. You can look at Milosevic, who was a dictator in Serbia. And in all these cases, people-powered movements took down very violent dictatorships. And what we are experiencing in DC right now is violence and brutality. I want to be clear about that.
Can you talk about the violence that you're experiencing?
So we, right now, our youth detention facilities are full. It takes almost until 1 a.m. to get people out of court. I did a training of 120 people last Friday, and I asked people, how many of you have seen a neighbor an attempted kidnapping of your neighbor by armed federal agents who were masked? And a third of the room raised their hand.
Really? Where were you at?
Like we were running a training for people all over DC, and you know, just to give you some sense, so Union Station is our train station. It's also a metro station here. There are National Guard military carrying semi-automatic weapons, telling any children that they may not get off the train there. So my son's middle school that he went to is just a few blocks from there, and that's how kids get to and from school. And they're literally telling children, you cannot get off the train here. Get back on the train. And these are military personnel carrying semi-automatic.
Why can't they get off the train?
Because suddenly they decided that children are not allowed in Union Station. They just decided it yesterday, and nobody knew they were going to do this. They're doing this sometimes with less than 30 minutes of notice to anyone. And so, like, delivery drivers are being, kidnapped sometimes literally put in chains. Sometimes we've seen bags being put over people's heads.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Chains, bags.
We've seen stop and frisk come back. Like literally, they're touching people's genitals without their consent. When the judges are listening to all these cases, the judges are saying like these are clearly constitutional violations, but there's nothing I can do about it but keep processing people. And so we are having a case where like the courts are jammed up, the detention facilities are awful, and then for immigrants, what we're seeing is they're removing them from DC immediately. Sometimes removing them from the state immediately, and people can't find their relatives. So this is really like a pretty brutal and violent situation that we're facing.
Thank you for giving us the other side of this, because when you see the news coverage on this, it is showing how basically all we maybe see a arrest or maybe see a sandwich thrown at a person. They're not showing, we haven't seen the other side of this, where is it just ICE or is also the National Guard being violent?
No, this is federal agents. So it's ICE, it's HSI, it's the FBI. It's gangs of federal agents, honestly. It's very hard to say in any case who is doing what, because they don't carry identification. They won't tell you who they are. And sometimes they're wearing masks. And so, like, how do we know who's taking our people? What we know is that black and brown men are being targeted. What we know is that children are being targeted, particularly 14 to 18-year-olds. We know that immigrants are being targeted, and we know that our houseless population is being targeted. So we know who's being targeted and that they're gangs of federal agents taking them.
Okay. So let me ask you a question, ma'am. What is the end game? Right? What do we do? What do we do? Because, you know, from my understanding, the mayor has signed an indefinite order that extends after the 30 days for the National Guard to stay in place here in DC. So legislatively, it seems like DC is done. I do know the Attorney General is doing his fight. So, like, what is the recourse of action here?
So we have a lot of recourse. So the other thing we've seen in DC, you mentioned the sandwich guy, but we've seen that this guy has become sort of a folk hero in DC. And what we've seen in DC, the other side of the coin, is that we've seen people literally chasing ICE out of the neighborhood. We have seen people jumping in and directing traffic away from illegal checkpoints. We have seen people, videotaping and just shaming these federal agents until they let people go. And so it's working. It's working already. And so the 5 things we ask people to do, number 1 is do not obey in advance. And so don't give up our constitutional rights at all. So if we're not going to use our freedom of speech, then we might as well not have it. So we are asking people to please do not obey in advance, use our rights.
So if they ask you a question, don't tell them anything?
No, not obeying in advance is different from not obeying a direct order. So not obeying in advance means before anyone even tells you to do anything, you do it out of fear. You curb your behavior out of fear. So, for example, like, if you are afraid to go to a march or to go to an event because of this military presence, then that's understandable, but it's also obeying in advance. We don't want them to curb our behavior, which relates to the second thing we ask people to do, which is prioritize joy. So joy is the thing that keeps humans human, frankly, through oppression. So song, and we're seeing some of these performances actually right now live in the church. So song and dance and prayer and theater, and like these are the things that we want people to prioritize right now, because that brings us collective care, and that will get us through this. That keeps us, able to do the next thing. So the third thing we ask people to do is take up space. So this is our hometown. This is our home. They can't have it, and so we need to take up as much space as we can in our home. Block parties, marches, whatever it is you do outside. You want to go have your lunch on a blanket outside in the park. We're going to do those things. We're going to take up space because we have a tactical advantage in that we know our community, and they don't know it because people have come here from other states. And so the fourth thing we tell people to do is show solidarity, because they might not be attacking you right now. Right now, it might be black and brown men and houseless people and children, but you are next. And I would say that to people around the country, too. It might be DC right now, but you are next if we don't stop it here. So we have to show solidarity with anyone.
So you think, let me ask you a question. All right, it's obvious. We can put it out there. A lot of this target has been black and brown people. You think it's going to extend beyond to white people and Asian people and other people?
Absolutely. They're not going to just, I mean, this is straight out of a dictator's playbook, right? And so we know that they start with the most vulnerable people first, the people who have been made vulnerable through racist policies, and then it spreads to other people until nobody has rights. And so we know what they're doing. They're following a clear playbook, so it's predictable. Every step of the way, actually, you can predict if you look at the dictator's playbook.
Let me ask you a question then. So based on what you know for the dictator's playbook, how long do we have until what's happening in DC happens across the nation? How long do they have?
We don't know, because it really depends how we act, right? We can stop this right here and right now. And so actually on Saturday, we're having a big march. We are all DC, and we are continuing to.
Where is the march happening?
The march is starting at Malcolm X Park at 11 a.m. and going down to the White House and to Freedom Plaza, and we'll have a program there around 1 or 2 p.m.
Okay, I love that. Well, again, I have it scrolling down here, Free DC Project. If anybody wants to come out, also the march that's happening on Saturday. And your name again, ma'am?
Leah Chatterjee.
Okay, Leah, it's a pleasure. We thank you so much. Nice to meet you too. Have a great day. All right, you all, as you all hear, we are live. We are live at the Defend DC Town Hall. You just heard from someone at the Free DC Project. They're trying to stop this dictatorship that is happening. I'm with my co-host here, Ms. Patty Pierce. And listen, y'all, we have somebody who's come in the frame. How you doing, my brother?
I'm too blessed to be depressed.
You blessed? All right, there's the camera right here. Yeah. All right, my brother. And tell the people who you are and what organization you're with.
My name is D. Muhammad, and I'm CEO of Crisis Management Unit. And a crisis is resolve the mismanagement, but the way to correct the crisis is management. And what we do, we in the community 24 hours a day. We go in hostile neighborhoods where normally the police don't go, and if they do go, they probably parked on a corner. So we engage with these murderers every day to provide resources.
Okay, and so let's talk about this. Since this occupation has taken place, right? What have you seen? Like, what tell us? What are you experiencing, and who are you helping?
Well, right now we're dealing with the regular people that we normally deal with, which is the least, last, and the left out in our community. And you cannot take $1.1 billion out of DC budget, and it doesn't hurt those that need that has Medicaid, those that have SNAP programs, those that need mental health, as well as jobs. So we still provide resources for those that need those particular resources.
So you're okay, because let's talk about that. So those of you all who do not know, the DC budget was cut, and now 25,000 people will be without Medicaid. Isn't that right?
That's absolutely right. The key now is we shouldn't rely on police or policy anyway. The regular community have to step in, whether it's local banks, whether it's local stores, whether it's corporations, have to step in now and help the DC residents.
Okay, so you're thinking the local stores are going to help the DC residents provide health care for free?
Well, not healthcare, more so in jobs and things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, there wasn't enough jobs in Washington D.C. anyway before the budget. And that's the beautiful thing about it. We have to provide more jobs in our community, because when you provide more jobs in the community, then naturally the crime go down.
Okay, so let's talk about this. I know a big part of what you do is helping the youth. Isn't that right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, now let's just talk about some of the statistics, especially when it comes to crime, that the youth are doing. Okay, so first of all, for those of you all who do not know, what truly triggered this whole DC takeover is when a 19-year-old former Doge worker got assaulted in DC on August 6, 2025 by two 15-year-old suspects. They had been arrested. Okay, the Doge worker, his name was Edward Cortesine, also known as Big Balls. Okay, now that leads to the kids in the crime in DC, because listen, it is an issue with kids in crime that cannot be ignored here. Okay, and just so the audience knows, the number of juveniles arrested in DC has gone up each year since 2020. More than 2,000 were arrested in 2023 and 2024. That's 2,000 juveniles here. Okay, juveniles also counted for 51.8% of all robbery arrests in 2024. According to the police department, about 60% of all carjacking arrests made to date in 2025. This is 60% are juveniles, sir, and nearly 200 juveniles arrested in 2024 for violent crimes had prior violent crimes arrest. So I say this to say and ask you, don't you think that there is a problem that DC hasn't been solving?
Well, just realistically speaking, there's a problem amongst our community, the black community anyway, because the problem is coming from, you talking about juveniles, but someone produced those juveniles. So there's a problem in the home because we have to be responsible as parents for what we made. So if the correction has to be corrected, or the problem have to be corrected, it have to be corrected from home. So part of the solution now is we have to learn how, as parents, when we cannot deal with the issues with our children, we either have to find a family member, or as a community, it used to be that you can take your child to someone in the community and that they would help you raise your child. But since that is gone, now, truthfully speaking, the music, the culture amongst our young people, when you're talking about the music and you're talking about the trap music and you're talking about the things of that nature, which is guiding our young people because there was no guidance amongst them. So the music is guiding them. So now what crisis management did 3 years ago, we started to stop the killing in all the high schools because of what you're talking about.
Okay. I hear everything you're saying, sir. Okay. And I'm looking at this from both sides of the coin. And for those of you okay, for those of you all who are just tuning in, we are live at the Defend DC Town Hall Resist Rebuild movement. Okay, and I'm telling you all. Okay, so these kids, right? Because a lot of this, we've seen it all over the news, right? And to be honest, before the occupation came, we were afraid to even just walk the streets during the day. Okay, it used to be that these kids, especially, let's just call it what it is, black kids, okay, they would do this crime only in the neighborhoods, the poor neighborhoods, like the Southeast, the Anacostas, and all those things, the Northeast, right? But it has spread to places like Georgetown, right? Places like Northwest, right? Like it wasn't contained anymore, right? Now we have little to no crime, okay? Little to no crime.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true. See, we have to be extremely careful because the good guy and the bad guy depends who writes the story, right? You can take one incident, politicize that incident, and you make.
But it's not one incident. If you see here, 60% of the crimes were committed by these kids. 200 juveniles arrested, have violent rape. It's not a little bit. This is a lot of it. Like acknowledge that.
If you will let me, I'm out here every day, ma'am. But what I'm not going to do with our babies, I'm not going to politicize the condition. You absolutely right amongst the crime amongst our juveniles. But what I am not going to do is politicize no statistics with our babies. And this is why I use the terminology, the good guy and the bad guy depends who writes the story. And before the occupation came in our city, we still had the same situation. Now, I spoke directly to people in Maribel's administration. And one of the things that I was highlighting is when it comes time for summertime, bring back the summer jobs. The children don't have nothing to do. So if the children don't have nothing to do, not saying that that's the reason that they committed the crimes, but when they don't have nothing to do, you have to be an example for them as well as providing resources for them that they can grow into the workforce. So we like to talk about Marion Barry and the things that he did and made him successful. We got to bring those kind of policies back. We got to do everything that we can before they end up in the justice system.
Yes, sir. So I totally agree. Like seriously, the kids, they need something to do, right? What I just want to know from you is this, right? Since this occupation has happened, right?
Yes.
You know, crime has gone down with the youth, right? So what are they doing now?
Well, right now, realistically speaking, when I leave here, I'm on Martin Luther King Avenue in Malcolm X Southeast. That's one of the worst parts of Southeast and Washington, D.C. Those young people and babies is still out there.
What are they doing?
They still doing everything they was doing. This is what I was talking
about. They still carjacking?
They still doing. I don't know about that, ma'am. I'm gonna have to be real careful.
I know, but I'm just not.
But really. We have to be real careful because at the end of the day, we have to be real careful that we don't buy. We don't have to be real careful that we don't buy into uh, what's been transpired in terms of any administration when it comes down to our babies. So the point that I'm making is this: I don't know if they're committing crimes or not, but I do know that they are still in the streets, right? That's why I'm talking about the statistics. Those statistics don't guide people like myself because we crisscross in Washington D.C. every day. And if you notice, during every midterms and every election, the crime go up or the crime go down based on your politics. You see, so the thing for me is I work directly with MOCA director Lamont Curry, who provided a lot of resources. As I was saying earlier, we was going into high school. We stopped the killing tour going into high schools first because, as you said, that's where the problem is what our young people will be glorifying committing crimes.
Absolutely. So can I ask you a question?
Yes, you
So both of you all, right? I know you all are both leaders in here. You both are highly involved with the government, the local government, city council. Have either one of you been able to talk to the mayor since this occupation has taken place?
The conversations that I haven't directly had with the mayor, but I put the bug in the ear of the people because she and I have an interesting relationship. But we don't know where she is right now.
What do you mean you don't know where she is? Talk about that physically or mentally?
Just mentally, where she is as far as hearing her people, where she's getting her information from, how she is getting that and doing it to kind of save her own job versus saving the citizens that put her in office. Now, you could look, I mean, if we're going to pull statistics out, we could say that we really weren't that big on having her in here. But now that she's here, I think that some of the things that she's doing is just not in line with what we've asked for. I've been in a number of actions and organization pieces where we have put legislation in that's been voted on by the citizens, and for some reason it managed to get vetoed by the time it gets to her desk. So we need her to listen to her people, and right now what they're saying is you gotta go.
Absolutely. So can I ask you a question, right? Because DC, you all, the budget is controlled by the federal government and some things. Do you all feel like the mayor has sold you out, or do you feel like she's doing what she's got to do? She's going to get along to protect the people.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm not gonna, under no uncertain terms, gonna put all the weight uh, on the mayor because there's no police or policy is gonna correct this condition. That's first and foremost. She's under a lot of pressure. We all know she's under a lot of pressure, and because the pressure that she's under, uh, like Miss Fierce just said, is a lot of dissatisfaction in the city. But once, and like I said earlier, the community has to step in now and just learn how to be in the community again because no one is coming to help. We all that we need, we just have to come together. And the things that we do great, we just have to do it together. Because at the end of the day, you and I know that she's under a lot of pressure. Okay, now I'm not looking, and we shouldn't be looking for any politician to get us out of this situation because the politician didn't get us in it. So that's the beautiful thing about it, not panicking, but at the same time working with one another to make sure the residents in Washington D.C., the least last and the left out, is taken care of.
I love that. I love that. So listen, we're gonna close. We're gonna end on that note. Again, I appreciate your time, my brother. And can you just again tell the people your name and where they can join your cause at, sir?
Yes, my name is D. Muhammad, and I'm a CEO of Crisis Management Unit. And you can go on cmu.org to get in contact with us, or you can call me at 202-274-0441. And thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You're so very welcome, sir. You're so very welcome. All right. Thank you so much, sir. You got a few minutes still? Oh, okay. So, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm straight up. She sold us out. I don't have any shame in my game with that.
All right then. Well, you'll join us, Miss Pierce. You're gonna come back and join us if you can. Miss Pierce. I'm sorry, Miss Pierce, and you are with the interfaith, with the interfaith. All right, y'all. We got started here a little. All right, you all. Listen, we are live. We are live, y'all. We are live here at the Defend DC. I hope you all are enjoying this. We are in. We're here at the church, St. Paul's AME Church here in Washington, D.C. on 14th Street Northwest. I'm going to see if I can turn the camera around where I can just show you the massive amount of people that are here, you all. When I say people, I mean people from all religions, all ages, all walks of life. The panel is getting started right now where they are talking about just I guess the different leaders from all the different organizations, such as the boycott Target campaign. Just so you all know, every Saturday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. they go to Target in Columbia Heights, DC, where they stand out and they picket and they protest and they actually bring their own vendors. Okay, the Free DC movement. You heard from the lady at the beginning of the broadcast. DC for Palestine organization. They are also here. Their leaders are here. And the Avelo Airlines Baltimore campaign is here as well, you all. So all the leaders, they're coming together. Listen, all walks of life, all races, they are here. And throughout the evening, we will go ahead and we will try to just get some sound bites from the leaders and also the people who have come out, the audience. All right. So let me turn this around. I'm going to go ahead and let you all view it. Thank y'all so much. If y'all have any questions, comments, anything, go ahead and drop it in the chat. And you are watching Get Well with Mel, your number one source for health wellness information for mature adults. I hope you all are enjoying this. We are live in location in Northwest DC.
My name is Peters, and I am trying to figure out which tag that I put on. The Boycott Target. Because notice, let's do it. And I realized I didn't introduce myself, other than that you're on Monday. I come out of the movement for Black Lives Organizing. I've been organizing in DC for about the last 10 years, and I'm just so grateful that the DC community welcomed me here. I've been organizing in all of the work to remove the police budget, to decriminalize fair invasion, and as well as for DC autonomy. And I'm gonna get started. So I wanted to pass this to Kate, if you would. I'm wondering if you could tell us about your organizing and what has happened as of politically.
Well, with our organizing, our group is very small, Doctors for Camp Closure, and we've been organizing as doctors and healthcare workers that there's no healthy amount of time for people to be detained or deported, and we promote justice for all of our immigrant community members. But it's been a little bit of an uphill battle to make an understatement, so we have taken on Avelo Airlines. There is now a national coalition against Avelo Airlines. Avelo Airlines is the first passenger airline to sign a contract with ICE. They figured out that they were not making enough money, and they thought they could get rich by signing this contract. And as we see in our community, one of the key tools of this fascist regime right now is the airplanes that flies people to ICE jails and the airplanes that fly people to deportation. So we are throwing sand in the gears of the deportation machine. ICE has already lost all of its contracts on the West Coast. They've lost the contract in Las Vegas, and so I can tell you that people are hungry to take action. We have our third protest now, and our numbers keep growing and growing. We've got great news coverage, and we are working to bring out fascism. And I'll hand out petitions for you to sign.
I'll ask the same question to you, so it's all about organizing and what's happening.
The last 50 years, organizing folks,
All right, you all. Like I said before, we are live at the Defend DC Town Hall. And with me right now, I have the young man that you heard. What's your name, sir?
My name is Ahmad.
Ahmad. And you can look right there. All right, Ahmad, and you are is a Christian artist, is that right?
Indeed, songwriter, recording artist, lyricist, and MC from Washington, D.C.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. So, which organization brought you out here today? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Indeed, I am with the Freedom Futures Collective. We are a creative arts incubator where we combine activism and hip hop.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So, I kind of like that. So, we just had a gentleman. He was here earlier, right? And he said that he believes part of the. Well, first of all, let's set the stage here, right? I did read some statistics earlier, and it's from the DC police, right? That over 50% of the carjackings in DC are caused by the youth. I brought that. Yes, I brought that. You would you agree to that?
I would agree to that.
And how old are you?
I am 27 years old.
Okay, you're 27, so you're a little older, right? But not too far removed, right? Okay. So anyway, when I was talking to the gentleman, I brought that fact up, and he said part of the problem he believes is the music, right? Music, hip hop music. Would you agree to that?
I would agree to that.
So how then, if the hip hop music is the issue, how do you bring activism to it and make it positive?
I mean, for me, the thing is, it's already positivity and activism out there. I just feel as though that's not viewed as the cool thing. So I really believe, and I'm not even going to say just myself, but people continuing to push that narrative, other than the obvious narrative that's being pushed. I feel like that's a change. That's something that could give the youth a different alternative.
So let me ask you something, Ahmad, right? 27, born and raised here in DC, not that long ago, you were under 18 and youth yourself, right? Why do you think they're committing all these crimes? Why do you think, and I mean, they're not just responsible for the carjackings, but, other crimes as well. And I mean, I'm talking about violent crimes, right? Because that's one thing too. You hear the statistics about how the crime here in DC has gone down, right? However, the crime amongst the youth has gone up, right? So why do you think that the youth here in DC is becoming the number one, population, right? That is doing these violent crimes, right? They're not just like petty larceny, theft. I mean, a carjacking is a violent crime, right? Why do you think that's happening?
That's such a layered question, and I'm gonna do my best to answer it from being someone who's never committed crimes and never will, but being from that community where my peers are the same community.
We want it real.
Yes. So I feel as though, first off, it's a lack of guidance in our communities, lack of positive role models. And when I say role models, I know that term gets thrown around a lot, but role models aren't perfect, but they're a beacon of light. They're a beacon of hope. So I feel like there's a lack of guidance and a lack of positive role models. That's one reason. I will also say you've not seen that there are other ways than the streets. I feel like a lot of my peers get caught up in the streets because they feel like that's the only way, that's the only means of survival. Because a lot of my peers are striving to survive, and they feel that the streets is a way to survive.
Can I ask you a question? So you said striving to survive, right? How does a person survive or get paid, or what do they gain from carjacking?
I agree. So
are they selling the parts? Like, what do they get paid?
It's a multitude of things, from maybe selling the car to actually getting the car that they stole to commit a crime. So it varies. It varies, but like I said, the first two key things for me is a lack of guidance and no role models.
Okay. So these kids that are committing these crimes, right? At this point, right? Because you have to agree that since Trump has done his occupation, right, or the administration, excuse me, that crime has gone down. Okay. So if they leave, it's going to go back up, right? Don't you think so? What do you think needs to be done so that doesn't happen? Because we're here tonight fighting for something, and in a sense, it's kind of working, a little bit. Like people do feel safer. So if this side wins, right? And I'm trying to be impartial here, and it goes back, like, are we really fighting for the right thing?
I see what you're saying. It's a very like mixed thing, because the same people that are being that may feel that they're more it's more safe. Those same people, it's a whole other group of people that don't feel safe.
Do you feel safer?
No,
You don't.
I don't.
Okay.
Even though I know I'm not, and this maybe can. I'm gonna do my best to.
No, come on.
No.
People really need to know this
Yes.
because you're a DC native. You live in DC, right? Come on, say it.
Indeed. Well, it's not that I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna say I'm gonna do my best to word it in a way, but like based off of how I dress, how I think, how I talk, I know I'm not the typical young black male that's targeted from of my appearance and just how I think and how I present myself. But I still know that that target is still there on my back. But I don't feel safe because I mean, I don't carry guns. I don't have nothing on me. So when I see National Guard in my community, even though I know I'm not the person that they may not target, I still feel a sense of like I have to be on high alert. And mind you, I already have to deal with black on black violence or violence amongst my peers. So that is only something that's been added on to something that I already have to deal with.
Okay. So listen, I appreciate your thoughts. So let me ask you: have you had any interaction with ICE or any of the National Guards? Have you had any interaction?
I haven't had any interactions personally. I have witnessed a few instances where I'm walking in my community,
Where's your community?
Southeast Washington, D.C., and I'm walking past the National Guards. What will be the word? I'm not going to say detaining, but harassing. I'm going to say
They
harassing.
were harassing people. Talk about what did you see them doing?
So telling them to get off the corner, telling them, and mind you, these people aren't doing anything. These people they're not bothering anybody. They're really just standing on the corner, you know. But once again, it's a viewed misconception.
Yeah, because when you see people standing on the corner, right, it's like
already negative stigma.
never the sickness. They don't have a job, right? The stigma, they don't have a job. Number two is you think automatically they're selling drugs, right? So
Which is it's a fair it's a fair it's a fair it's a fair thing to think, but at the same time, it doesn't apply to every black male that's standing on the corner. I don't stand on the corner, but I know peers that have full-time jobs and they aren't in the streets, but that may just be hanging with their friends on the corner. The corner is where we congregate a lot of times, even though I don't congregate, but the corner is where you may find some young black males congregating and talking, even though there's no malicious intent or no negative intention behind them being on the corner.
they're just hanging out. They're just hanging out on the corner. Okay.
So those males are being targeted.
So let me ask you a question, Ahmad. So okay, so they told him to get off the corner.
Yes.
How were they harassing?
Physically, now
Really? Okay,
I've seen instances. I didn't. So when I was walking down the street, they didn't actually put anyone in the car, but they were like physically not manhandling them. They were physically like striving to move them along and get them off the corner. And I've also more of like you could say pushing. You could say pushing, but not like a strong shove. Just more of like, all right, come on, buddy. Like, my apologies. Yeah, but just like telling them to shoot. Like this might sound weird, but like when you're shooing a bug, like just like they're like, come on, get off the corner.
Okay. So somebody asks, is that harassing to tell them to shoot along? Would you consider that harassing?
I do.
You do?
Especially if they're in that community. That's their community. They're in that. They call that place home, and they're in that place every day. And be told to move from a particular space in your community where you are at every day. Like that's their. I'm not gonna say that's the norm.
Can I ask you a question? Where do you see this? Where do you see this going next?
To be honest, I really feel like it's already blowing up, and I feel like it's going to cause a divide, and I feel like it's already causing a divide with different ethnicities, in my opinion.
One of our guests. So you said, and and also just to let you all know, if you would like to come on and give your views, we are more than welcome. You can come on and join us live. So you said you feel like this is causing a divide in different ethnicities. Can you talk more about how you feel that the troops, the National Guard, occupying DC is causing a divide with ethnicities?
I feel like racial tension is at an all-time high right now because of this.
Racial tension of who?
Racial tension between black and whites.
Why do you feel like that?
I feel like that. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I feel like not even I feel like that, but I know that that's the case because though we have African Americans that are in the police department, the MPD, the Metropolitan Police Department, but that doesn't apply when it comes to the National Guards. So it's definitely causing a divide as far as like black youth that are, when you see the National Guard, you're not seeing people that look like you, you know. So obviously, even though the black youth are able to contextualize that all white people aren't bad, but it's still causing a divide at the same time, bro.
So when you say the divide, is it so because these National Guards that are coming in, a lot of them are white, right? Policing black people. Do you think it's just like? Do you think it's? How do you think that's causing a divide? More of that because just talk
I
about.
think, yeah, really just going back to just I think it's planting seeds of a mindset as far as feeding into the idea or the misconception that all white people are bad or all white people are evil. I feel like, and even me, even though I haven't been harassed or detained by the National Guard, but it's causing people to look at all white people differently. Even though I know that all white people are not evil. I know, I am aware of that, but I feel like due to the circumstances of this situation, it's allowing black people to look around at their surroundings. Yeah.
Interesting. And I so just to give some context to this, right? You all who may not be familiar with the dynamic of DC, also called Chocolate City, right? Where until and I think it's still the majority black, right? Is that I don't know. We'll check the statistics, but very due to gentrification, right, happening everywhere. But as far as the racial dynamics before, I could say that we all got along in that sense, right? It's a pretty diverse, a pretty diverse, we kind of all respect each other here, right? We kind of all it's one in DC. So, and I always used to tell people, I never really experienced racism before I left DC. I never experienced it. So, because we're all one, right? We're all one. Black people, the majority here, right? And we all kind of have to get along, right? So, in places where a black person would usually be discriminated against, right? And it would just be okay, things would carry on. If that happened here in DC, if a business owner discriminated against black people, especially outright blatantly, right? They would get closed down. Something would be done about it, right? It wouldn't just be swept under the rug because of just the dynamic here, right? So do you think that is changing, or do you think maybe the black people here are kind of getting what the rest of the African Americans are experiencing around the U.S.?
I feel like yes. So first off, historically we are known as the Chocolate City, but I feel like DC is an assortment of chocolates right now. Like I don't think it's just us. I really believe it's a melting pot, and that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, I feel as though the cultural essence of DC for sure is Chocolate City. But I feel like due to gentrification and other underlying factors, DC isn't viewed in the same light as it once was. I feel like when it comes to that, it has a black presence and community for sure, but it's different. I feel like, and I feel like with this happening regarding with the National Guard, it's only showing that. Yeah.
Good. Well, I appreciate your thoughts. So, one of the ladies who were here with the Defend DC, right? she kind of alluded to the fact that what's happening in DC is going to be happening in the rest of the US, and that it's going to spread from black and brown people because this is a dictatorship playbook, according to her, right? Do you, and so with that said, she talked about how it won't just be black and brown people that will be targeted, right? It will spread to other races, white people, Indians, because it's just about the oppression of the people. So hearing that eventually this is going to spread beyond black and brown people, what is going on, like they won't be targeted anymore. What are your thoughts on that?
That's crazy. That's my immediate thought. I mean, because at the end of the day, from my performance and what you just stated, we are one, and I operate in that, and I believe that, and I know that. At the same time, though, I do feel, even though I haven't been harassed by, like I said, by National Guard or detained, I still feel like this, what's happening and what's been being enforced is targeted specifically for black and brown people. So you sharing with me that it'll expand beyond that. It's disheartening, but it's also, I don't know. I'm not gonna say I want to wait and see, but
Yeah,
I
I
feel
mean,
like it's an agenda.
yeah, it is it's an agenda. So yeah, so when you talk about a dictatorship, it's not just about white, black, or anything like this. It's about the people, right? It's not just about a group of people. It's about all the people controlling their thinking, having them under your rule. Because that's what she alleges that is going on. It's just a dictatorship. So it's not just going to affect black and brown people. They start and then it expands. Yeah, and I know for some like minorities, you can't imagine that happening, right? And I think maybe that same thinking, right, kind of desensitized black people because at first when ICE was coming out, we kind of thought it was just the Hispanic people, right, that they were taking. But no, it's not just the Hispanic people that they are taking. As you see now, they are taking black people too, right? They start off with the most vulnerable and then it expands. Yeah, something to think about too. So it's not just going to stop with us, and that's why tonight you see people who are not just black but white people, all races coming together. Because they know that this can expand. It's just not a black. Yeah, it's just not a black and brown problem. Yeah, it's a everyone problem.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I think just being someone that's still actively in the thick of it, to your point, I might not be able to have the foresight to see it beyond just my community, because my community are the people that are being oppressed. So
Absolutely. So, all right. Well, we have some people. Listen, I see you all out there. You are. Thank you for watching Get Well with Mel, your number one source for health and wellness information for mature adults. We are live at the Defend DC Town Hall, where we have leaders from all different organizations coming together to try to stop and bring up and have strategies in a community forum to stop the Trump administration takeover of DC. We have leaders here just to give you all some insight. And again, I am broadcasting live from Northwest DC. We have people from the Boycott Target movement, the Free DC movement, the DC for Palestine movement, the Avelo Airlines Baltimore campaign movement. They are all here. Okay, and right now I'm here with Ahmad. He is a activist, a hip hop activist. Could we call it that?
I use my artistry and my music to push activism and just make change.
That's right. And he is a DC native and actually lives in DC. Yes, and he has had firsthand experience with ICE in his neighborhood. So we're just here getting his thoughts. So if you all have any questions, please feel free to drop them. And as you all can hear in the background, they are having a live panel right now. So um all right, so let me ask you. Um, you said you don't feel safe here.
I don't.
Okay. You don't feel safe.
Even if I'm aware that they are racially profiling a specific archetype of a black male based off of how I dress and how I present myself, I still don't feel safe.
Okay, you don't feel safe. So, question for you. So we know that one of the things that's been happening here in DC is the layoff of the government workers. Yes. Um, for you being a DC native, have you seen any effects of that happening?
I personally have not, but thank you for informing me of that, and that does make sense. But I personally have not.
Why do you say that makes sense?
Really, to be honest, with everything that's going on, I wouldn't be surprised. I really, even though I don't have no factual evidence to back up that statement, I just really wouldn't be surprised because I feel like it's a lot going on right now.
You haven't heard about how they're laying off, how Trump and Doge, well, excuse me, the administration cut off.
Regarding, yes, I apologize. I have.
It's okay, no problem, no problem, no problem. So, have you seen any effects of that?
For sure.
Let's talk about it.
I'm a full-time artist, so things like the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, like I've been told that I wouldn't be able to apply for that grant.
Oh, they've taken a grant?
Yes. So a lot of different grant opportunities that once were available are no longer available.
So what are you gonna do now?
I mean, I'm gonna continue to create and continue to find other means of income as I continue to create, make music and things of that nature. But thank you for reminding me of that because I am aware of it and I have been. But due to everything that's being enforced, grants that were once available to artists are no longer available due to that being enforced.
So do you think this threatens your ability to be a full-time artist?
For sure.
Okay.
100%.
What type of job would you go get?
Great question. I haven't even been thinking about that because I've just been still focused on the present. I am someone who thinks ahead though, forward thinking, but I have options. I'm gonna just say that I have options.
All right, last question before we wrap this up, Ahmad. Being a DC native again, you're here day in, day out, right? And I love this conversation that we're having because guess what? You know, whatever happens here tonight, whatever they do, whatever the administration chooses to do, you're affected. Do you think that this resistance that they're leading, this organizing that they're doing, do you think it's even effective, or do you think this is a waste of time?
No, this is definitely effective. I believe for me, and I said this when I was performing, just seeing all of these different walks of life here together, pushing a common cause, that's definitely effective because it shows, I think it's going to show my community and it's going to show other communities that we have to come together. We have to come together.
Are any of your neighbors here tonight? Anybody from your community here tonight?
Other than what is it called? Other than representatives from the Freedom Futures Collective, no. But I'm confident there are some people here from Southeast or Northeast or my neck of the woods.
How do you plan to get? Because you're 27, okay? You're not, you know, a teenager anymore. What do you plan to do to get your peers out?
Ooh, I'm gonna just say that this is a early. I guess I'm gonna drop the exclusive on here.
All right, we love an exclusive. Okay, get well with Mel exclusive.
Get well with Mel exclusive. So, like I said, I'm a part of the Freedom Futures Collective, and we combine activism and hip hop. So, another member who's a part of the collective, who's also a hip hop artist like myself, him and I are working on a free DC record. And I find it interesting that no one has yet created one. But I believe that that's divine or synchronicity, as I like to say. I think that's God. So we're working on a record right now. We're going to do a music video. We're going to bring out the city. We're going to bring out the communities of all different ethnicities. And we're going to come together through art, through music. That's how I can contribute because I'm not a politician, but I know how I can contribute to this cause.
I love that. I love that. Well, thank you so much, Ahmad. It has been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure. How can people get in touch with you?
So if you like what you've heard, anything I've stated, you can follow me on my Instagram at Ahmad A.M_AD.
Thank you, Ahmad. Thank you, Ahmad. Listen, you all, we appreciate y'all tuning in. Just in case you're just tuning in, I am here at the Defend DC Town Hall, live in Northwest DC. We are at John Wesley AME Zion Church on 14th Street, DC. And I just got finished talking with Ahmad. He is a hip hop activist and also DC native and currently living in DC. So we're they right now they're having a community panel, you all, where they have different heads of organization such as the Boycott Target chapter for here in DC, the Free DC movement, the DC for Palestine movement, the Avelo Airlines Baltimore campaign to boycott the airline as well, you all. As you can hear the applause in the background.
The first should know the Target ticket line, as it were, is every Saturday morning.
All right, you all.
So if you haven't come, you should go to
All right, you all.
Target at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Join Rep Fears.
All right, you all. We're gonna go ahead here, and we are going to end. We're going to end this episode today. Again, thank you all for tuning in for Get Well with Mel. Until next week, we are here every Thursday at 5:30. So make sure you tell a friend and share this episode and tune in. You know, one of the reasons why I wanted to do this episode is just to give you all a boots on the ground look at what really is happening here at DC. So many times, especially if you're not a DC native, you may kind of get the impression that what happens in DC is just politics. But there are people here who really do live, they work here, they raise their families here, right? They are really affected by the things that happen, you know, just around the corner, just up the road on Capitol Hill on Northwest. And I wanted to give them an opportunity to speak and just to share their perspective with you all. All right. Until next time. Bye bye, everyone.
Both where they live and also how people are being impacted. I think that was